Hey there, hi there, ho there, everybody. What's up? It's Asada, your host of Gathering of the Griots, right smack dab in the soulful Chicago Book Fair world. Good to see you on this Tuesday morning. We are here today to have a wonderful conversation with Jamaal Fridge, who is a young adult writer. We can call him a middle grade writer, but we are going to get into the nuts and bolts of all that it entails dealing with that age group, and the fact that somebody took time to address their needs and their experiences in books. So before we do that, let's give a warm welcome to the female solution, because without the female solution, we wouldn't even be here. So get a look at what it's all about.
Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the female solution.
There you have it, the female solution. So before we get rocking and rolling with Jamaal, it's hashtag Title Tuesday, baby. So in the Soulful Chicago Book Fair world, every Tuesday we give honor to titles that'll be featured at the Soulful Chicago Book Fair in August. And so let's get a look-see and see what we got here. We got Operation Mapleview, The Life and Times of Theodore Addison. Yeah. That's period, the author that we're dealing with today. That's his book. And then we also have My Best Friends and Me, The Story of Childhood Cancer by John Sims. So love it, love it, love it. We are only doing 2 today because on other days, we have more, but today we're just doing 2. But I just want to give a warm welcome to none other than Jamaal Fridge. How are you, darling?
Very good. Very good. Thanks for having me.
Hey, I'm so happy that you're here. So happy that you do what you do. You cover what you cover. And I'm going to just get right into the questions. Get right into them. First and foremost, are you a Chicagoan? You from Chicago, or where are you from?
Yes, born and raised.
Born and raised. I love it. Love that about, Chicagoans are very nationalistic when it comes to Chicago, big time.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us a little bit about what it was like for you growing up in Chicago.
Let's see. Chicago's a very segregated city, so it's most all of my life had been just lived on the South Side. I sometimes went downtown, but living on the South Side, it's like just everything's black, right? And so unfortunately, there are opportunities that we don't get because of racism and segregation. But on the flip side, there are things that we do get, like community, that sense of community, that sense of I'm normal here, right? And so I could just kind of just be. I didn't have to be. I didn't have to think of myself through anybody else's lens, through a white lens, through an Asian lens, through a Hispanic lens. I could just think of myself just as being me. So I grew up on the South Side of Chicago. I had for those who don't know the Chicago area, we're known for large multi-family households, like inside one home, so compound families.
Mm-hmm.
And that was mine as well. So I lived in the house with my grandparents, my aunts and uncles, and me, my mom, my cousins, and some of them rotated out.
I hear you.
Yeah. So I did have a really big family growing up, and that's something I always appreciated. We always had the support of my grandparents. So financially we were okay. Yeah.
Nice.
We didn't have everything, but I did have a joyful childhood.
That's right. It wasn't good time. They always try to make you think everything like good times, in Chicago, living in Cabrini Green Project, whatever. But I also like what you said about this is a diverse environment. People it has 77 different neighborhoods. and there's so many different cultures, and
Mhm.
people say it's segregated, but I actually like it like that. I like, if I want to go to Greek town, I go to Greek town. If I want to go to the Latino area, I go to Latino area over in Pilsen, and so I just
Right.
like that we have our communities here and they are where they are. And so I'm glad you are native of
Yeah.
Chicago, loving that big time. So want to get into your books because I used to be a teacher.
Yeah.
And I've taught fifth grade as well. First
Oh,
grade,
okay.
fifth grade, high school. I love high school. But I do know when you get to that fifth grade level, the emotions start to stir. And
Yeah.
so they're right at that little point of life where you're kind of growing up and some things, but you're still not ready to let go of
Mm.
your childhood. And
Right.
so I kind of want to ask, where'd you get the inspiration to do this book series?
Okay, so how do I condense it down? Because it's a long story. Basically, like I growing up, I just loved video games. Like I was always on Mario. I was always on Pokemon, you
You
know.
my generation.
Yeah. Um, and so I wanted to make games, but making games is expensive. And so as I'm writing these ideas down of, game ideas that I have, um, I realized that, like I want to get these characters and these stories out into the world ASAP. And the best way to do that is to start with books. And so I just kind of had to, I just had to start the process of learning how to be a writer. And so like the books that you're showing, the books that like the things that you're featuring right now, these are future video games. These are the foundations of future games. And so um then there came a time when I was in high school and like things started to come together a little bit more and I started to think about how to make a better game
Okay.
and that included bringing God into the games.
Look at that.
And so that's when I became, a devout believer and I started studying the Bible, started to learn as much as I could so that I could make the games better.
Okay.
Um, and then I just kind of felt like, life was coming together like, pieces to a puzzle.
Okay.
And so,
I want to show
so
a video where you talk about
oh yes,
this
yes, yes.
creation. So let's take a look at that because he gets into what were you applying for the like Black Ambition grant or something like that?
Right. The Black Ambition Prize hosted this is started by Pharrell Williams.
Pharrell, I was gonna do that actually. Cool.
Yes, 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 yes. And so this was the impetus that pushed me to start my company so that
Okay.
we can start doing this. And so
Nice. So let's show that
I'll let you
video.
show the
Let's show it.
video.
Imagine a world where children eradicated literacy, where video games are a parent's ally, and where kids know more about God than their elders. These seemingly difficult and disparate visions are actually one and are eminently achievable. I found it renewal to create Christian games that blend fun gameplay with spiritual growth. But because of high development costs, we're starting with books. And this presents its own issues. Having taught English in China for 6 years, I understand my audience's needs and frustrations, both spoken and unspoken. If they enjoy something, they'll obsess over it, they'll master it. Our books prioritize accessibility, vocabulary building, and character development, all without breaking the flow of the stories. Done right, this will generate the funds to develop those innovative, captivating, God honoring games. We seek the Black Ambition Prize's coaching and financial support to achieve this vision. Thank you for considering renewal, and we look forward to working with you in the future.
I like it. I like it. Look, God honoring games. Like that is so huge because who's doing that? Nobody, right? And
There are some. There are some, but they're obscure.
right, I don't know
Yeah.
about them. Like, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? They're not household names, right? And
Right.
so that means that your competition is not all over the place, right? That just means that you that you have a niche market to me, to be, I mean, the Christian, look at Tyler Perry, the Christian arena is huge, but again, the who you chose to focus on is not huge. People do not make books for this
Mm.
age group. When they make children's books, they're making it for little kids, and there's like no in between, as if young
Right,
people don't grow up.
right.
So tell me the why. Why did you choose the fifth grade level to focus on?
Well, just growing up, like some of my favorite TV shows, like Fairly Odd Parents, like Jimmy Neutron, like the protagonist is 10, like all the time.
Hmm.
Um, And I wanted to start there. Well, that's also my favorite age group to work with. So, as I mentioned in that Black Ambition Prize video, I taught English in China for 6 years, and that age range was just my favorite group to work with. Not only because like they could engage in deeper conversations, but they also still enjoy playing, and so I like having that balance of deep and play, and that's kind of reflected in the story too. Yeah, there's fifth grade hijinks that go on, but there's also serious issues that get discussed in those books, and I just want to have that flexibility. And so, there's also the angle of the thought of when I was a kid, I did not like reading. I was a reluctant reader. Um, so the things that caught my attention were things that were audio visual, video games, TV, right? But then
Hmm.
the books, like they would come on this matte colored paper, and it have this old book smell that I just didn't gravitate to. There weren't pictures in the books. It wasn't engaging, and so it's like the books weren't competing for my attention. And so, like, as authors, we've got to think about what's competing with our books for kids time. Right now that's Minecraft, right now that's Fortnite, that's TikTok, right? How are we competing with that? Are we giving them something compelling, to bring them into our world, right? Because they've
Right.
got a world that they can get into just like that.
That's right. That's right. I'm so glad you're saying that, because we always want the kids to pick up to where we are. It's like, what? You're using a rotary phone. Get out of here. You
Yeah.
need to pick up to where they are. And so I love that, like you said, that age group, right? That fifth grade, they kind of growing, but they still into play. And so liking that space, I find that they're not as I'm grown. You
Mm,
can't tell me what to do.
mhm.
And if you're an educator, you can still tap into that. Let's get a little bit into books. And I like that you handle emotions in the book. And I like that you handle, like, you have a lot of different races in the book. And I want to get into uh other type titles, but let's talk about your main man real quick. Let's deal
Okay.
with your main man. Meet Ted. What's up with Ted?
Okay, so remember how I talked about, like wanting to make a game that's, like the highest quality game required me to be able to go broad where necessary.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, we're bringing in God, so that brings in those fantasy elements, so that opens that venue. But also, I made him a genius, so that brings in the science fiction element, and
Mhm.
that actually takes that's a huge part of what makes him him, that
Mm.
genius, that love of engineering. But it's also the source of his troubles. And
Okay.
so, and I described this in the character deep dive videos that I've been doing on YouTube.
Okay.
Um, Ted is a kid that is always in search of vindication,
Mm.
and things may go right, things may go wrong at the end of the stories, you know, um, or things may end on a high note, or maybe not. But he's always looking for that somebody to back him up and tell him that the decisions that he made was right. He's misunderstood, and so it's like there's just like he's getting in trouble with friends, he's getting in trouble with family, he's getting in trouble with God. Sometimes he feels
Yeah,
like he's
okay.
getting in trouble with the government. Hence this flag right behind me. There's a story behind that. Uh,
Okay.
um, and so like he's looking for vindication, and he wants to live this life of peace, but it's like his brain carries him down these paths that just invites trouble.
Gotcha.
And
Okay.
so he's a God-fearing kid, but he's far from perfect. And that's kind of what I love about him, because not every kid, like, kids can be good kids and still get into trouble. Kids can be
Sure.
good kids and still, wrestle with what's right and wrong, and under what circumstances is it right or wrong.
Okay.
So we get into nuance with him, decision making. So we're looking at the cover of The Average Genius. This book is all about how do we make good decisions? What does a
Okay.
good decision look like in this situation where he's deciding whether he wants to transfer to a new school that's, like for gifted kids, whereas, he may want to stay with his current school and help his friends.
Mm-hmm.
There's like, what's the right answer and why? You
Right.
know,
Now this book is out already.
no, it is not. I'm
Okay,
still
yeah, I wanted to
working
talk
on
about
it.
that because you have some good things promoted. And guys, if you're watching, please, I'm putting the website at the bottom. It's www.addisonbooks.com. This is one of the pages from there, but you can subscribe for updates. You can find out about the books that are forthcoming. You can read about the books that exist. Don't you have like video clips on that website?
Yes.
Right.
So
So there's a chock full of stuff. So go ahead. Yeah.
yeah, so part of the reason for that is also because of, being a reluctant reader growing up, right?
Mm,
So if I need some, like, people are not just all readers. Like that, we've got visual learners, we've got audible learners, we've got kinesthetic learners, right? Kinesthetic meaning like those who learn by moving, those who learn by doing, right? And so trying to address the holistic needs of the kids also means just reaching them where they are. And if they're not at the level where, like where they can read at that fifth or sixth grade level, most Americans speak at a sixth grade level. And so, if they're not at that level, then they'll have the audio book, they'll have the YouTube version of the book so that they can listen as they're reading, as they're following along. We define the words, like big words that are used in the book that kids might not know. We plaster that right on the screen and we just say, like, okay, yeah, here's that word, here's the meaning, keep rolling with the story. And so we're trying to build literacy too. And we're not just assuming what people know, and we're
right.
not, and yeah, we're trying to connect the dots for people.
That's awesome. You guys, if you don't know, because I sure was on YouTube, I'm also putting at the bottom, go to youtube.com/ the @Addison Books, and you will find these video versions of parts of his books where
The
you
whole
get
thing.
the different, yeah, where you get the different lessons that you're talking about. I was looking at those like, should I show that tomorrow? But I want to give people something to go and chew on while, these things exist. They can go in extra time and find them, but
Mhm.
so much you cover so much in it. Now I want to bring up these characters real quick, and I
Yeah.
want you to talk about like what inspired them, because I see different races. You even got the black Jew on there. I say, oh, he going next level. He going next level with it. Oh, we got on the yarmulke. Let's get it. So talk
Yes, yes,
about these
yes, yes, yes.
characters. What propelled you to create them and make your choices for these characters?
So yeah, the lead character Theodore, he's mixed. I want to be able to, speak to what it's like to be biracial
Okay,
in the United States, right?
gotcha.
Um, let's see. There's Veronica. She's my favorite character. She is
Okay,
this girl in the corner here with the red background.
gotcha.
Um, she stirs up so much mess, and that's what I love about her.
Okay,
She drives the story. So she is an immigrant from Canada. She's a missionary kid. She's been all over the world. There's a story behind that and what led to her parents wanting to be missionaries. We explore that in Operation Mapleview.
okay,
Um, Derek is Ted's right hand man. He's not pictured in this particular photo,
Okay.
um, but like he's someone that's on Ted's level, but like he's there as like support, right? A good friend that Ted really needs. Diamond, she is the popular girl. She's also not pictured in this photo. Um, she has a different experience in the Black community than Derek. She was on top. Derek felt like he was at the bottom, right? There's Ambrosa, this girl pictured here with the yellow background. Uh, she loves reading. I received, some acknowledgement from the Hispanic community that they appreciated that Ambrosa was, someone who loved reading. She takes a really prominent role in Fifth Grade Challenge, and now I've got to put her in every book. She was a fan. She was a favorite in China too, because a lot of the readers they saw themselves in her. Then there's Yaakov, also known as James, an Ethiopian Messianic Jew. So there's tons of depth in his story too. And when we get to like in future books, we're talking about religion and comparing them. He's going to be the main point person for that because he's got to deal with that because that's part of his history, his experience.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I love this cast, and there will be more. I'm building on it now.
I love it. I'm trying to figure out which one do I want to show. They're going through so much. This is funny. I thought this was great. Is this Ambrosia loving on
Yes,
the
yes, yes.
Latino girls are loving on the black Jew? I love it. The black we get. So what's the vibe about that? What are they dealing with here?
So part of fifth grade challenge is about a competition between the boys and the girls, right?
Okay.
And so Veronica, she's like the lead antagonist here. She puts Amber, or what's call her bookworm, because that's her nickname, right?
Okay.
She puts her up to confessing to Yaakov James that she likes him because
Okay.
she knows that she likes him.
Okay.
So she goes ahead with it. But then, like Ted is like thinking like, wait a minute, we're about to start a competition between the boys and the girls. And now all of a sudden the girls start, now this girl starts saying she likes you. No, 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 no. And so it starts this big investigation and this gamesmanship, right? Um, and so like there's this big misunderstanding between them because they do actually want to connect. They don't really care about the competition so much as
Okay.
they, just care about their own lives. And so this is kind of them patching things up, right?
When she
And
was
trying to
giving him
find
the hug.
right.
Okay.
'Cause they had a big blow up
Okay.
and yeah. So
Is this the blow up right here?
oh no. This
Cause she looking like
um
she about to knock him out with that rolled
that
up
paper
paper or
ball,
food
right?
or whatever.
Yeah, they go out to eat together and
Okay.
they're playing like who wants to talk first, right? So they play rock, paper, scissors. And so he
Gotcha.
throws scissors and she throws paper.
I see. Got you. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. But I like that they have a relationship. I like that you're representing groups that can identify, because that's
Mhm.
the biggest thing a lot of times is that
Yeah.
young people can't identify with the story or the characters. And I
Mhm.
love that you gave that emphasis, particularly because you were in another country. Now, let me ask you this: when did these come out? Because we know about the influence when you were young, but when did
Mhm.
these actually come out?
Well, they came out when I was like the first edition of the book came out when I was in China. Um,
Okay. When were you in China?
this was 2014 to 2020.
Got you.
So yeah, we came back to America because of COVID, right?
Oh,
But
wow.
when I
Okay.
was, yeah, that's a whole
That's a
another
whole
that's a
nother
whole
show.
nother yeah. But I finally living in China, the expenses are low. So, I finally had some money to put towards the books. And so I said, let me hire an artist. I found
Okay.
one in Indonesia. She was phenomenal. And I'm going to keep using her going forward. I found a narrator. She's my business partner now. She's in Canada.
Nice.
Um, and so like we put together this book, but then, I kind of realized, like, wait a minute, I made a lot of rookie mistakes as a writer.
Okay.
And so to improve as a writer, I came back, I just went to God and I said, God, I need resources that are going to help me improve, but I need them to not be overwhelming. Sometimes we get overwhelmed by the abundance of knowledge, the abundance of advice, right? And so I just said, like, God, give me something I can chew on, something that I can digest. And so that took the form of two things. One was a screenwriting video or class by I forget the woman's name now, but it was called the Nutshell Technique. I think anybody can just look that up and they'll find it. And so these are used for writing captivating movies.
Okay.
Then the second resource that I used was this book called How to Write Dazzling Dialogue.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Oh yeah, I swear by that book now.
Cool.
Um, so every line of text in a book needs to have purpose, and every line of dialogue needs to reveal something
Mm.
about
Wow.
that
Okay.
character or about their situation, right?
Got you.
So yeah, we don't do information dumps. You get it as you go, right?
Got you.
Um, and so with this information in mind, I turned around and I wrote the book again. And I
Okay.
said, we've got to do this a second time. We need to do another pass. And so I did, and like I'm so proud of what it became.
Is that
So
the first book? Is Fifth Grade Challenge the first book?
it is not.
Okay.
It
What's
is
the
the
first book?
second book. The first book is My New Home. So I wrote this out of order so that I could get those mistakes out of the way because I wanted to do My New Home justice.
Okay.
So My New Home, this is a story of just like this is Ted's origin story, right?
Gotcha.
When the book opens up, he is isolated, he is friendless, and he is dealing with bullying.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so
Important.
he gets desperate. He's like, okay, well, you know what? I've got some invention ideas that like Derek is nowhere in sight. Derek moved away, right? So, his best friend is gone. He is alone. And so he decides, like, okay, well, you know what? Maybe I can use my inventions to deter, my bullies, because he's in class with not one, but five bullies in one class. And so
Mm.
he's getting beaten up. His parents are, starting to say, like, okay, we need to go to school, we need to go and fight. Um, but if his parents fight his battles for him, he's basically saying, like, I won't get the respect. So the problem will continue, or it might get worse. And so he turns to his inventions, and his inventions kind of lead him into getting in trouble with the law. But those inventions also help him, save the city when he, stumbles upon, like some kind of domestic terror plot. Um, and so it's
Mm.
like this flag, with the slash cut through it
I
and the
see.
holes in it, and that's also, the series, the Life Core logo.
Okay.
It's
We're going to go through that.
right. It's inspired by, like that terrorist attack that he thwarted.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Wow. He's young doing that, huh?
right.
Gotcha.
So he gets, he gets rewarded for his heroism, but he's also got an FBI file. So
Homo, he got an FBI file. My man. Go ahead. Fifth grade. My
so
man.
so so that's that vindication that we're talking about that he's searching for.
Okay.
He's in trouble, but he's also a hero. He did the right thing, but he did it the wrong way. And so,
Got you.
yeah.
Got you. And what about Operation Maple View here? What is this dealing with?
Okay, so this one, Veronica, she is homesick and her parents are ready to jet off to another country. She wants to go back to Canada.
Canada, right?
The background here, that is the Branch Street Pier in Burlington, Ontario. She lives in next door Hamilton.
Gotcha.
Um, she wants to go back for a visit. Her parents say no. They want to go to, Indonesia. So she goes to Ted and she says, like, hey, why don't you use that jetpack and fly me back home
Okay.
for a visit, just a few days? And Ted, like he reluctantly agrees. Or he
Okay.
gets to, like it's a long way to agreeing. Um, but she's trying to reconnect with home, but home she doesn't realize until later is home is, family. It's friends. It's, it's not just a place. Home is where you're loved. And so even though she's back in her hometown and in her home country and there's a certain freshness to it, it feels hollow.
Mm,
And and so that's the lesson that she has to learn. The lesson Ted has to learn is forgiveness.
okay.
Because like they're not friends when this book starts off, right?
Gotcha.
He reluctantly helps her.
Okay.
Um, and he has to learn forgiveness. He also has to learn selflessness,
Mm,
right?
gotcha.
Yeah,
And all of those tenets are in your book, in the story for people
exactly.
to pick up. I want to come to that, but we got a comment, and then we're going to take a commercial
Oh, yeah,
break.
yeah.
But a
Go for it.
comment that says, "I love these stories. I have to buy these books for my little great nephew." I know that's right. That's what we're
You know
talking
what?
about.
And I'm rushing to get my new home out ASAP. It is in the editing phase. So Naima,
Okay,
is it Naima or a Naima?
Naima, Naima, yep,
Okay.
Naima Latif.
Yes, I try to get these names right. I swear to you, I promise.
Now, you're trying to get this out for August 9th book fair?
It won't be ready in that time because I
Okay,
still have
but
to get
we
these
got the
chapters.
website down there to stay tuned. So we're
Yeah.
gonna take a commercial break, guys. So don't go anywhere. We are sitting here having a good old conversation with Jamaal Fridge. We'll be right back after these messages.
Okay.
The Soulful Chicago Book Fair, Woodlawn's premier summer event, returns to 61st Street between Cottage Grove and King Drive, Saturday, August 9th, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Join us for another celebration of literary works by and about the Black experience, featuring children's books, fiction books, and non-fiction works by local and international authors. The main stage will host an entertainment lineup second to none, with Pari Lemuel, Aniba and the Soul Stars, and the mesmerizing Moo Moo Fresh. Special guest, DJ Celeste. The community stage features a variety of family-friendly performances, such as DJ sets produced by IC Music, an organization that trains and promotes blind audio engineers. All this and more, Saturday, August 9th, free and open to all. Be there. Visit soulfulchicagobookfair.com for more information.
All right, big time.
Yes.
That's August 9th, baby. That's what you're going to be at. So you
Yes.
guys be ready, no doubt about it. Go to soulfulchicagobookfair.com for more details. But let's get back. There's so much to cover. Go ahead.
You know what? So I have been so envious when I was in China. I kept seeing you promoting that, and I kept wanting to go, and I just couldn't. So this is my first time getting to do it.
I'm so happy. See, I love that. We actually have author flying in from Japan just for this event. He's an author of a trilogy called Gaikojin,
Uh-huh.
and his father's African American, his mother's Japanese, and his locks are down to his shins, and we rocking and rolling. So yeah, so yes, indeed, we do it international. That's why being on the Female Solution is so important, because that's how we keep it, global. And so your books, we got a fifth grade challenge, we got my new home. Also, you said coming out, won't be ready for you said both of these books are going to be coming out, right?
They will, but they won't be ready by the 9th.
Okay, good. So, but for the book fair, you'll have the fifth grade challenge for sure.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
no doubt about it. And so we'll stay tuned. I love that people can follow Theodore Addison and that you have a life for him. But you yourself, you live a life of, it seems, inspiration and inspiring young people. Um, but it looks like it's not necessarily just fifth graders. Do you do other age groups as well, like collegiate age?
Well,
I have some footage that or some images of that, but go ahead.
yeah. So I work. So when I was in China, I taught all age ranges. So I was working with people who were mid-career that were just looking, to boost their language skills, maybe for a promotion or just, to do a better job in their classes. I've worked with preschoolers, like in this particular picture, like we were working on a card game. And so this was a business forum in China. Um, yeah, I take I look for all the opportunities and all the like all the resources around me, and I just kind of bring them together into my vision. Um, and so yeah, but yeah, I work with all age ranges. And like nowadays, I'm also working with my church, and so um, we do a lot of theology work. And so like yeah, I hope I'm not rambling, but yeah,
No,
that's
you're
just
not. You're good. You're good. Because you're answering what I wanted to know. It's not just working with that age group of fifth graders through
mhm,
your books, but obviously you are applying this in other ways.
yeah.
There's I saw an event that you were promoting, and I think this is it. Tell me a little bit about your involvement in this.
Yes.
Inspire.
Yeah, so this is my home church, Zion Faith Center Bible Church,
Got you.
pastored by Reverend John Eric Kelsey.
Okay.
Um, and previously before him was Reverend Dr. Donjama Gibson. And so like he's gone off now. He currently teaches at my alma mater.
Okay.
So
Which is
Calvin University. Well, he's at Calvin Theological Seminary.
okay.
So small world. Um, and so, I just learned so much. Like I became who I am at that church partly because of Pastor Gibson and because of Pastor Kelsey. Pastor Kelsey's like a father to me. And as you see also pictured here, Elder Sherrard Jones, he's like an uncle to me. And like these people have just been part of my life. They've shown me how to be a man, how to be a God honoring man, how to be an intelligent man, and how to like. They really just opened up my mind, especially Pastor Gibson. Um, and so like it helped me to see the world in a different way. And this is what prepared me to be able to go to China, to be able to work effectively, and even to have, like interfaith dialogues. Um, So yeah, so this event was just promoting, like the men's month at the church, and I
Okay.
was one of the speakers then.
You are one of the speakers at that?
Right.
Okay, good. This whole let me tell you something. I watch Little House on the Prairie every day.
Mm,
And one of the things about that show is that Michael Landon made sure that Christianity was up in there. You hear me?
mm.
You are going to get the bringing in the sheaves. We should
Ah,
rejoice and bringing in the sheaves. So,
mhm,
but he made sure that he took his artistic medium
mhm,
and got his spiritual beliefs involved in that. And so I'm gonna go back to your books in a minute, but you've even taken it to a whole nother level. You have like a sidewalk ministry that you do, right? Oh, y'all don't know this dude.
okay,
Yeah, look, this dude right here. Look, if you died today, what's up with this? Talk about
okay.
this.
All right. So yeah, this is just a snippet of like a progressive message.
Okay.
Um, where like I'm writing the message like I don't remember what the rest of it said. It said like if you died today, are you sure you will go to heaven? Not, then like, hey, go to this website and then like see,
Got you.
and it'll take you
Okay.
to a blog. So this was from I want to say when I was about 20 years old, 20
Wow.
about 20 to 25 years old. I did this, and
Okay.
um, I'm an evangelist, and so like it's in me to get the message out,
Nice.
but I didn't know how to do that in a way that fit my personality.
Mm.
So there was this gentleman that I met on the train that like he did like open air preaching. Like he would go somewhere and he would just, shout out the message.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and he was encouraging me to do the same. And I wrestled with that for quite some time. And, like I just could never work up the courage to do that. It just wasn't like I just wasn't built for that. So I had to get creative and just say, like, okay, well, if open air preaching isn't the way that works for me, maybe writing the message on the ground works for me. Maybe that's more effective and maybe that'll, reach people, as they're walking by this is a highly trafficked corner. Um, check the weather, make sure it's not gonna rain. Um, and that's how I did things. It was the way that worked for my personality. So I couldn't just let somebody put a battery in my back and tell me this is the only way that works better, the way that works. There are many ways that work.
Absolutely. Now, I'm gonna go to a couple of other ones and I want you to just explain them. This
Yeah.
next one here says, believe it or not, to
Oh,
walk with God. Talk about it.
um, wow. I don't even unfortunately I don't remember
Okay.
what the rest of this was.
Not a problem.
Um,
I got all kind of little snippets. Um,
Oh, okay. So that was the next one. To walk with God is the most fulfilling thing you can do. Oh, and then
ah,
the next one was let me show you how. And then
oh,
okay, so
okay.
that's what that was.
Got you.
Um, yeah. So part of this is also, just like like I was doing experiments on this, like putting up post-it notes, like on bus doors and like seeing what was working. I was doing A/B testing in evangelism and things like that. I was monitoring traffic to my website. Um, I was just trying to find the way that worked. And one of the ways that did work really well, let me show you something. I'm going to be handing these out at the Soul Chicago Book Fair too. Um,
Ah,
so these $1 million bills, well, I kind of changed this one a little bit to promote the book,
yep,
but
I like it.
there was there was this ministry that does these like with gospel messages on the backs of these, and maybe like President Obama on the front.
Okay.
And these would just be so easy to pass out. And they would just say, like, hey, well, some things are more important than money, like, like our
Got you.
souls, right? And so
Like your
those
soul.
were the icebreakers, right? Um, and that's what that was effective. That helped me have these one-on-one talks with people when I met them on the street,
I
met
like
them
it.
on the bus. Yeah. I tried everything.
Okay, but the point is that it is important to you to get it
Mhm,
out. Where did the evangelism come from? Like, because you got people who go to church and sit their butt down, they don't say
mhm,
nothing, they just go home. But
yeah.
your need to speak out and get the message out about God, where's that coming from?
Um, so it is both eternal as well as it is temporal. Um, I've always hated this idea of, this pie in the sky Christianity. This idea that life may suck now, but if I believe in Jesus, I'll go to heaven. I want people to know God now because God is not just the source of, like, we don't just need God for when we die. We need God for when we live, right?
Mm,
And God knows how to live. God designed us to be able to connect with him. And as such, he would know what is best for us. And so part of the impetus for my evangelism and part of the impetus behind the books and the games is just to let people know that God's way actually does work. Let me show you how it works. Um, I want people to live a better life so that they don't have to wait for heaven to enjoy it, to enjoy existing.
nice.
So yeah, it's
Nice.
more than just, believe in Jesus and you'll be saved. It's believe in God, follow God, and you can have a beautiful life now and later.
Yes. Got
So,
you.
yeah,
Now and later in this life right now.
yeah.
I want to know how you and this is taking it back to the books. How
Mhm.
did you weave the message of Christianity into your books? Like at what point do the kids get that reality um when they're interacting with each other? And again, guys, you're watching, as you can see, Jamaal W.M. Fridge. He's a middle grade author. I'm going to put his website at the bottom as well, addisonbooks.com. But yeah, talk about that. How do you weave Christianity's message into the storyline? How does that happen so that they value that?
Well, the first thing to do is don't try to force it.
Mm,
Like it's like there's a scripture in Deuteronomy that says, like, hey, teach your kids the word when they're lying down and when they're getting up, when
mm,
you're in the city, when you're in the field, when you're at the table, like it's like all the time, right? And so it's kind of like that with me. It's like you don't have to force this thing. The values and the message of God can come through just through our daily interactions. And this picture you're showing right now, like there's these pranks going back and forth, and Veronica gets furious, right? She's got paint on the back of her shirt, on the back of her pants, right? This, like, what's going on behind here? The central message here is value each other because each person is made in the image and likeness of God. Whether they're male or female, God created them both. Value each other in that same way. Treat the person next to you like you would treat God, right? And so this does come through in several stages where the parents might be talking to the kids or the teachers might be talking to the kids, but they're also experiencing this just in their interactions with each other,
okay.
where like, hey, you're doing me wrong and this isn't like, what's behind why you mistreating me?
Mm, okay.
Right? And so like it doesn't take a lot to put a message in a book.
Right.
It feels very natural to me. Yeah, in this picture, they find out Bookworm had been set up by Veronica, confessed to James that she liked him. So now the boys are, James is destroyed. Ted and Derek, they're thinking like, like you're a disgrace. We can't trust you.
Mm,
Um, so she has to wrestle with the consequences of her actions, but as well as her not clarifying things sooner.
gotcha. That's what
Yeah,
I like about the series is that, boy, do you have this chock full of emotions. All the illustrations show emotions on so many different levels in their world, whether it be here or you can see, oh, there goes our girl Veronica knocking with
yeah.
Veronica is up to her antics. I don't even know what she's doing, dumping food on each other's head. Are they
Those are water
making up?
balloons,
What are they doing?
right? Water balloon. Like, okay, so I don't know if I'm spoiling this for anybody, but
Oh, I know. I got all the pictures up there.
yeah, but like Ted says something to her that
Mhm.
like they're having a water fight. This is the final
Got
battle,
you.
right?
Got you.
In the girls versus boys competition. He says something to her that kind of makes her, rethink how she's approaching things.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so she decides, you know what? Let's just make a draw.
Got
Dumps
you.
on both of them.
Got you.
Yeah,
And it's so some reconciling,
right.
right? And so again, here,
Possibly. There might be a
possibly. Ah,
twist.
and
There
that's
might
the
be a
thing.
twist here. So
Right, might be a twist. And that's the thing that I love is because, like I said, you got the emotions running high up in here. Now you
mhm.
have something that you developed that is
Yes.
so importante. You have on the shirt for it, actually. You talked
Hmm.
about it a little bit ago,
Yes.
but
Life core.
Life Core, talk a little bit about Life Core and what that is, because I saw that and I was like, ooh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Life Core, you're making it official for people to sort of be connected to these characters and these stories. So talk a little bit about Life Core.
Okay. So um As a teenager, I was about 16 when I came to, when I became a devout believer. I had been Christian growing up, but I wasn't devout. So 16, I had become devout, but I also felt lonely.
Okay.
Um, I wasn't alone. I did, develop, like this circle of Christian friends and Christian brothers, who are still with me to this day.
Okay.
Um, but I just didn't. I heard other people, like that likewise said that they were believers, but they also felt so alone. They felt like they were navigating a world that was, trying to draw them into temptation, right?
Mm.
And you know what high school is good at,
Hey,
yeah. So temptations all around,
all
right?
around. Right.
So um part of the impetus behind Life Core, like as a ministry, and I'm saying this as a ministry because, one thing that I'm learning as I'm dealing with, going into game design is that you can do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
There is nothing stopping you. Like, I've been playing Zelda lately. They changed up the entire formula behind Zelda. They've changed, um, the way that you level up, the way that you buy things, the way that you fight, the way that you recover. They thought to redo all of that, and the game is magical. I didn't want to put it down.
Wow, somebody
You
named
can.
Zelda just responded. Look at that.
Oh my gosh.
Ah, she said, awesome. Books where little black boys see themselves in real time. Keep up the great work. Look at that. Your
Yep.
Zelda. Oh, and hold on
Yes.
for 1 second. Somebody from Japan, my man Taquana Maru, that I talked of earlier, he's tuning in. It says, great interview. Question: is it possible to experience heavenly bliss while still existing on earth? Oh, that
Right.
sounds loaded.
Oh, yes, 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 yes. So a couple of weeks ago at my job, my boss, her like I work at the University of Chicago, and they
Okay.
have what we call the lab school. This is where the staff, and like this is a really high rated school. My boss, her daughter goes to that school. She was in the first grade, and they came out last week, a couple of weeks ago, to learn about what we do at our center.
Mhm.
And afterwards, we went out and we played. And these kids were, like blowing bubbles at me, like we're having a bubble. And they were chasing me around the yard. I had not had so much fun in years. Um, so that for me was heavenly bliss. That day was absolutely perfect. And I want more of those days. And so just getting back to that question of Life Core, it's a ministry that I want. It's not just a game, and it's not just the group of the kids, that
Mhm.
we call the Life Core, but it's the ministry of all the young people who know and love God and have devoted their life to Him, so that
Okay.
they know that they're not alone.
Mm, got you.
Yeah.
And this basically is the write down of a person
y-
can go and apply for a life call card, correct, on the website.
yes.
I mean,
And
look at this, guys. Oath of office. Look at that. Look at that. What is that in the book?
yep, we also put a copy in the book so that you can cut it out and you can
Nice.
put your picture on it and write your name in it. Um, and you can just also download it for free on the website. Um,
Okay.
yeah, it's just just a little something to like have like a tangible.
Sure.
Um, yeah, and so I
Well,
just
look what
want.
it says, guys. I, Asada Kirkland, do solemnly swear to love the Lord Jesus Christ, to follow his instructions, to be the best of my ability, and to love others as I love myself. What's important about this is that many times all
Mhm.
people need is a guide. Like they
Yeah,
just need something to help them articulate the experience or articulate uh something that they're aiming for. They sometimes they don't know
mhm,
what to aim for.
yeah,
But this gives them that. This gives them a blessing. This has
yeah,
ranking criteria in any order. Look at this. Take the oath of office and get baptized in your local church. It's giving them stuff to do. Make a habit of praying every day. So this is really great. What inspired? Where'd you get the content for this?
um, well, gee, there was a bunch of stuff that I was thinking about, but it's just if there was something in a nutshell that I would want kids to remember, or like things to be practicing and things to be doing, um, things to be thinking, this is it. So, I want kids to like, so part of that oath of office goes back to the two greatest commandments, right? Jesus was asked, like, what is the greatest commandment? He says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your mind, all your soul, right? But he doesn't stop there. He connects, loving people, loving your neighbor as yourself, right?
Okay.
And so like he makes sure that they know it's not enough to just be vertical. You also have to be horizontal,
Okay.
right? And
Okay.
so I want the kids to be thinking that same thing. I want them to be vertical, but I want them to also think horizontally too.
So
Yeah.
important. You're doing the work, and for really doing the work. Like there's so many layers to the work that you're doing and putting out the life and times of Ted Addison, and just having, like you said, tangible. People need tangible things. Giving young
Yeah.
people tangible. Now I'm gonna say this: you in many of your videos,
Mhm.
you said, "I write for this group, but I also write for the people who raise this group."
Right.
Talk about that.
Right. So yeah, the YouTube, like the audio book of fifth grade challenge is free on that YouTube channel at
Got you.
Addison Books, right?
Okay.
But because this book is so layered, because the series is so layered, um, the kids aren't going to catch all of this,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
But so that's why we have, things like reflection questions at the end of every chapter. It's so that the kids have something to think about, but also parents or teachers or youth group leaders in church will have something to discuss with the kids directly, and they can lead the group that way. So this is a resource for them as well. Um, and for whatever it's worth, I think the adults will enjoy the stories too. It's not written it's a book about kids, but it's not just for kids, right?
Yes, got you.
Right. And so I want additional resources to empower the parents because the parents are the most important in this situation.
Got you.
Um, and so like the more things that I can give them to use, I want to come alongside them to help
Mm.
them in the spiritual development of their children.
Mm.
'Cause I know that they're tired. I know they got to work. I know that there's so many things competing for their time and attention and
Yeah.
energy.
Yeah.
So this is just, an aid.
Got you. We got
Yeah.
one more minute. Believe it. We gotta go. I can't believe it. What word of wisdom would you give to the audience,
Um, Good
or whatever
question.
you want to share?
Well, I guess one thing because I know because I have to bounce right after this
Sure.
too. So um I actually want to thank you in particular. Um, because, I just want to say like thank you for loving our people.
You got that right.
Um,
Thank you.
we live in a world that stigmatizes blackness as though it is bad.
Yep.
And so to the point that even we sometimes believe that when we see another face like ours, we assume something nefarious. And
Mm.
I did this test on racial bias,
Okay.
and I found that those who have a pro-black bias is like 2% of the
Mm.
test takers.
Wow.
When they see black faces, they think bad things, and you
Mm.
fought through that. You unlearned that
Yeah.
to and turn that into serving our people and lifting our people up. Even during the Soul Chicago Book Fair,
No
that's an
doubt.
outgrowth of your love for our people. And I just want to say thank you for loving our people.
Oh,
Keep doing the work that you're
thank
doing. I'm happy to partner alongside you with this, and we need more like you. Um,
Wow.
and yeah, so that's the one thing I wanted to make
Thank you.
sure I told you because I don't know if I'm going to see you at the book fair. I know you're
You
going to be
will.
busy. I'm going to be busy, but I just
Yep.
want you to know that I appreciate you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Jamaal. It's been awesome having you. We love your work. You're part of the family, no question now. And I look forward to getting people to, y'all see that website at the bottom, www.addisonbooks.com.
Mhm.
Go get the books even before the event. then come to the event and get them signed. Have a dynamic day, Jamaal. You've been
And
wonderful.
get you one of these bills too. We're
I
gonna
can't wait
pass
till you
these out
bring
for
those
fun.
bills and I get me some of them.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I
Thank
got
you
you.
so much. I love it. I love it too much. Let me see. Thanks. Somebody said, thanks for a great show. Continued success. The
Thank
Higher
you.
Learning
Thank you. Thank
Network
you.
said that. And you guys come back next Tuesday for more Black Power and Black writers who do the daggone thing. Peace. Have a great day.
Thank you.
We've come to the end of our show today. If you missed any broadcasts, go to our website for the audio and video archives at www.thefemalesolution.com. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussions. And to our global family joining us from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, xie xie. India, dhanyavad. Japan, arigato. Korea, kamsamnida. Russia, spasiba. Germany, danke. Poland, dziękuję. France, merci. Spain, gracias. Italy, grazie. Egypt, shukran. Ghana, madasi. Nigeria, eshe. South Africa, ngiyabonga. Senegal, jareh. Kenya, asante. Israel, toda. Pakistan, shukriya. Afghanistan, tashakur. Saudi Arabia and Palestine, shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you, and may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.